Welcome to Seattle Sports Union. My name is Abraham Deweese. With me is Matt Page, and up here is Richard Michelson. Welcome, guys.
How's it going?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
Not much. We're going to talk a little bit about the Seattle Seahawks. A little bit. I mean, a lot of it. We're going to go in depth. We're going to talk about some Huskies that were let go or could be let go from this team. We're also going to talk about just the state of the team and the health of the team and where we think this team is going. All right, we're Seattle Sports Union. Check us out on seattlesportsunion.com. We have great articles about the Seattle Seahawks, Mariners, etc. And we also have a great Facebook page. Check us out, Seattle Sports Union on Facebook. Like us. We love you. We'd love you to like us. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about those Seahawks. A 27-17 win in preseason. This is the most important preseason game. This is the third preseason game. Rich, tell me why the third game of the preseason is important.
Well, the first two games of the preseason are just for kind of working the kinks out, seeing all the newbies. But the third game, for some reason, has become the dress rehearsal for the regular season. Basically, you run out your first team offense for at least the first half. You run out your first team defense for at least the first half. Some teams go as far as the first couple series of the third quarter before they start bringing in the backups. So it's super important. It makes, basically, it gives us a good measuring stick to where, say, one Russell Wilson is, where the Legion of Boom is, and where that running back core that's got to replace beast mode is. Are they ready? Is there something to see? So that's why it's important.
I gotcha. So, Matt, we're talking about Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. Russell Wilson's been in the league for 4 or 5 years. 4? 5? 5th year. He's in his 5th year. He seems like he's been here forever. But anyway, 2 Super Bowls, playoffs every year, entering his 5th season. Did you see anything in preseason that gives you cause to pause? Or did you see anything in the preseason that made you excited? Or was it just more of the same of preseason football for you? As far as Russell Wilson's concerned.
As far as Russell Wilson goes, what I saw was him shaking off a little bit of the rust in the very first possession. He was not on target. He missed a few throws, but he settled in quickly in that second possession, and it was Russell all over again. Business as usual. He was making his good throws. He was scrambling, avoiding defenses, making us all wince as he dodges tacklers and runs to the sideline and worry about him. But he overall, I mean, I think he's primed for another wonderful season.
So it sounds like just more of the same from him. Electric work on the field, but it's against obviously some backups and whatnot. Nothing really to glean from this. If I look at that running back core, you're looking at Christine Michael, you're looking at CJ Prosise and others. Mm-hmm. These are opportunities for them to excel. Did anybody excel in your mind, Matt? Did anybody this particular game say, hey, give me that job?
You know, I really still haven't seen that. Christine Michael has really obviously shown up this preseason, but to me it seems like he does every preseason since we drafted him. He just kind of disappears into the pack. He just kind of fades away
when the regular season starts.
And I'm hesitant to trust his numbers from the preseason. We gave Prosise a little bit more. We actually got into the game this time. I understand that he was coming back from an injury, so there was kind of a hesitation to have him really be full speed and fully involved. But they envisioned him in kind of a third down back role, and I wanted to see more of him. He did flash some occasional, bursts of greatness there that you could see the potential.
So in the scope of the game, there wasn't anything that really made you say, this guy's great, that guy's awful.
Basically, it was a wait and see for me still, because we saw, obviously you didn't mention even Thomas Rawls. Thomas Rawls is coming back, and Thomas Rawls is number one.
Just in the scope of the Cowboy game.
But in terms of in the game, I didn't see anyone. I did not see enough from Alex Collins. I wanted to see more from Alex Collins, okay. And Prosise obviously was limited because of the injury. Michael, it's the same story. I hesitate to trust him.
You bet. You bet. So, Rich, you're a honk. And by a honk, I mean a husky honk. By a husky honk, you're dyed in the wool, purple and gold. You love those UW Huskies. You went there, you got your degree, and you wear your colors proud. We have had several Huskies try out for this team. We also have some Huskies that were on the team last year. We're talking about your Jermaine Curses. We're talking about Kevin Smith, the wide receiver. We're talking about Tani Tupou and Jason Amoa?
Jonathan
Amosa. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah.
And then we're also talking about Kason Williams. What do you think about these Huskies' chances? Let's go through each one of them. So again, the two fullbacks / defensive tackle for Tani Tupou, and then the three wide receivers. What do you think about their chances of making this Seahawk 2016 team?
I think Tani Tupou has a decent shot, though. If I'm not mistaken, the Seahawks also re-signed Will
Tukuafu.
Okay, there we go. I can't ever say his name right. Anyway, they re-signed him, so there's definitely some competition there, and I think it's kind of a coin flip there as far as who makes it out of camp, who makes it on the 53-man roster. As far as wide receiver goes, Kevin Smith, Kason Williams, one of them's gonna stick, and one of them's gonna be out of a job. Is really what it boils down to. And then, I mean, Jermaine Curse is on this team until Russell Wilson leaves this team.
Well, okay, wait a minute, hang on. Okay, so this is very interesting. I want to hear more about that. Why do you think that's the case?
Because they were rookies together. Because when Russell Wilson was a rookie quarterback, 3rd-round draft pick, he's kind of garbage. He might not even make the roster. Blah blah blah. Who was running the scout team with him? Jermaine Curse, undrafted free agent Jermaine Curse. Now, Curse has made himself into a respectable wide receiver in the NFL. Nothing great, nothing to write home about. But take your mind back 10 years. Matt Hasselbeck is the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, goes down injured. Who steps in? Seneca Wallace. Seneca Wallace had some wide receiver, I can't remember his name, but they had been on the scout team together, and he threw the ball to that guy like 10 times that first game. He went for like 100 yards. I can't remember who it was, but it's the same kind of thing. Quarterbacks go with who they have chemistry with, not who's actually good or open.
Matt, we all know that Rich is he's got the blindfolds on. The blinders are on.
Okay.
He's a Husky. He can't listen to reason. He can't see past his own nose. Like past his own Husky nose. He can't see past it. I need an outsider's perspective. You, an Oregon guy. What are your thoughts on what Rich just had to say?
He's absolutely correct in that it's not connected to just UW. Quarterbacks go with who they trust. They throw the ball to the guy that they know that will be there and who will make that grab. They've worked out that timing. If they've had a long time with that guy, they've worked out that timing with him. They know that they can just blindly chuck the ball into where they know that guy is going to be, and they can trust him to be there and to catch it.
Okay.
And so you build that chemistry over time, and it happens with every player. Every quarterback has his number one favorite guy. On any team. So
speaking of number one, our number one fan, Christy Piercy, is a huge fan of also one Tani Tupou.
Tawny.
What did I say?
Tawny. You said Tanny.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's Tawny. I've been corrected many times by her.
Tawny or Tanny?
Tawny.
Tani Tupou. And he is the Will Tukuafu, like 10 years younger version.
Yes.
And he didn't seem to make a lot of waves in these first 3 games. And what I want to get from you guys, both you, Matt, and Rich, are realistically, what are his chances? Doesn't Will Tukuafu coming back kind of shut the door in his career?
Well, first of all, Amosa was cut.
Yeah, you told me that.
So we've already slimmed down the fullback competition. Tukuafu was brought back pretty much the same day, same time. So obviously they weren't very pleased with Amosa's performance. One thing to consider is Tawny broke a finger in his hand, so he has actually been mainly playing defensive end, and he actually forced a fumble this last game in this Dallas game. So he did make his presence known, but they haven't had a chance to really see him on offense yet because of the injury to his hand. So he's not going to be able to carry the ball very well. But all reports out of camp was Pete likes his chances. He just hasn't been getting a fair shake.
Rich, over to you. When Pete Carroll brings in a veteran like this, is it not the death knell to a player? Matt doesn't seem to think so.
No, I don't think so. Not with the flexibility that Tupou brings to the fold. Pete Carroll is all about multifaceted players. He loves for lack of a better term, the slash type player. Someone who can play fullback, defensive tackle, and defensive end. Someone who can play running back and fullback and, I don't know, slot receiver. I mean, why was Percy Harvin given a run? Why did we trade away so much? It's because he could do so many different things and he was explosive. Pete Carroll loves flexible players. Just look at the defense. He lines up players, as a traditional linebacker, and then on third down he runs them out as the speed rusher defensive end, and then the next play or the next series maybe they're playing nickelback. So he loves that type of a player. The other thing he loves, players that work hard, and from every indication, Tupou's come into camp, put in the effort, and has grinded it out. So if he doesn't make the 53-man roster, I think he's your 54th man on the practice squad.
I agree.
That's a very important thing you mentioned right there. Working hard. There is an offensive tackle by the name of Jamarcus Webb. Jamarcus Webb's played for 6 different teams in 6 different years. He's coming to the Seahawks in his 7th season. He can play both left tackle and right tackle. He was slated to be the starting right tackle. There are rumors out of camp that he was not working hard, and that's why we have not seen him as a starting player. Is that a wise decision to take one of your more talented players and not position them in a place to succeed just because they're not working hard? Over to you, Rich.
Well, Pete Carroll has had a track record going back 15 years. I'll be honest, I didn't follow his career enough in the pros before he went to USC. When he got to USC, the first tenet he put in was every job is open, every job is a competition, every job is open every single day. You want to get on the field, you work hard. You're a freshman, you're the best player, you're going to play. You're a sophomore, you're the best player, you're going to play. You're a senior and you're a slacker, go sit on the end of the bench. This is not the Don James era. And so he has carried that over, that level of competition, that culture of competition, that if you don't do your job, if you don't come in and do the work, you're going to go sit on the bench.
Wait a minute, Husky boy. You just made a dig at Don James. I want you to explain yourself.
The dog.
What are you talking about? You come
Don
in here and you talk crap about
Don
the Godfather,
James,
and you're a UW.
I am.
You
Don
explain to these
James
fans.
had a weakness for seniors. Don James would rather play a senior because he trusted them, because he thought they were more experienced than oftentimes the best player on the field. True, sad.
He would take. So what you're saying is you take an experienced player over one who might be more physically talented.
Not just more physically talented, just plain better.
Okay.
I want to go back just a second to what he was saying about players that work hard. One other feature that Pete Carroll has sought out, and I really noticed this almost immediately upon the big overturn of the roster that they brought in when he came in. One of the unique traits that they seek that NFL players or NFL teams don't really use, prioritize maybe, is passion for the sport. Passion, guys who love to play, the guys who love to learn more, guys who go to the tape room and study it because they want to, because they're having fun, because they want to achieve it, but they also enjoy the game and the complexities and the different levels of the game, and they want to learn it. They're students of the game, and those kind of players, maybe they're not the most physically talented, but because they have that dedication, that's how you get the team we have.
Well, I agree with you. You have a Seahawks team that has more undrafted free agents playing for them than any other team in the NFL. In fact, they have more undrafted free agents than several teams put together.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here. I don't know if you guys paid attention to the commentary that Richard Sherman gave the NFL Network. That's how I was watching the game. He did a sideline report on the national broadcast, and he's on the sideline. He's in, like he's taking off his helmet. He's just given an interview. They're like, "Well, tell us what you see here." And on the fly, with no rehearsal, no nothing, he basically broke down like 3 play calls in a row just based off of Cowboys formation, and basically called all 3 plays they were going to run. He knew what they were going to do. So the Seahawks have this type of a culture. Now, Richard Sherman's a freak. He went to Stanford. He's a smart guy, right? But that takes passion. That takes dedication to be able to know schemes, route combinations, offensive theory, defensive theory, to see what's happening. And to be able to do that on the fly from the sideline is super hard. So,
yeah. I feel like we watched part of that, but no, I think at the local broadcast we didn't get everything that you got there.
Get all that, no.
So
yeah,
it
was pretty awesome. It was like 5 minutes of Richard Sherman just like calling out plays that the Cowboys were going to do. It was pretty cool.
Well, speaking about that Cowboys game, so what we saw is a defense in the Seahawks. They gave up some yards in the first drive, and then put the clamps down. They put the clamps down on the Cowboys for the rest of the game. And my technical director over there is doing a Futurama clamps, which I can't pretend like I didn't see. But the thing is that the defense allowed a lot of yards and then kind of constricted it.
But not a lot of points.
Yeah. Are we looking at yet another season where they lead the entire nation and the world in fewest points allowed? They've already done that 4 years in a row, Matt. 4 years in a row, they have allowed the fewest points. Are we going to see it again for a 5th year?
I think so. Honestly, we're set up with incredible depth. It's almost embarrassing the depth of riches that we have for this team right now in terms of our roster, in terms of defensive backs, in terms of linebacker core, in terms of defensive ends and tackles. It's incredible the team that they put together, and you look at the cuts they're going to have to make and the players that are just going to miss the cut, and you go, that dude could start for someone else. That dude could start for the Saints, or that dude could start for the Cowboys, because their defense
Brandon
sucks.
Browner's probably not going to make the roster. He was a starting cornerback on the Super Bowl champs 2 years ago.
Exactly.
Right.
That's insane.
There's all these players and great depth. And we play, like you said, we let up the yards, we don't let up the scores. That's the best way to play, in my opinion, for defense. Is you don't necessarily need to show stand strong and deny them everything, and every yard is a pain. You can let them downfield, and then once the field gets compressed, that's when you make your stand.
Okay, we have to run a break, but last question here for both of you.
Okay.
Legacy. We're looking at 1985 Bears. We're looking at the Ravens in the 2000s, the Buccaneers, the 1990s Cowboys. Come on. Seahawks are up there, aren't they?
Absolutely.
I think that as far as legacy goes, honestly, the Seahawks defense certainly is in the conversation. The Seahawks as a team, as a legacy, as a dynasty, perennial contender, they need another ring to really be in that conversation. Yeah. And I mean, the 85 Bears are kind of an exception just because of how resoundingly dominant they were that 1 year, and how much better their defense was, how punishing it was. I mean, everything went right for them.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That year.
Last thought.
My last thought is that you got to remember, we went to the Super Bowl and we crushed the Broncos, and the Broncos statistically that year were the greatest offense of all time, and we embarrassed them. We made them look foolish on a national level that no one anticipated. So it bordered on the 1985
So there will be a
Bears.
legacy then.
There is a legacy for that year.
All right, great. Okay, we're going to run a break. Right when we come right back, Matt's going to break down with Rich and I the roster and who may get cut, who may not. We are Seattle Sports Union. We'll be right back.
Sorry to cut over you there, Rich.
No problem.
What? Oh, so they can hear us?
Oh, okay. Hi, guys. I don't even know what it looks like.
All right, so Rich, in the second segment, Matt is going to go over the positions, and we're going to. I'm good, thank you. We're going to. You and I are going to go through who's kept and who isn't kept.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
This is a list of.
You're bringing us back in.
I am. Okay.
Ready to rock and roll. Let's do it.
Welcome back. This is Seattle Sports Union, and we're back here with Abraham Deweese, and somewhere around me, I don't know how the orientation is Rich Michelson.
He's up there.
He's up there. Okay. We're going to discuss some of the cuts that are impending. The first cut is tomorrow for the Seattle Seahawks, and what they're going to go is they're going to try and progress down to the final roster. And who we think is probably going to get the axe, and who we probably might stick around. We're just going to go down to my positions here, so I'm going to throw some guys out at you guys, or some positions. We'll start with quarterback. Who do you think? Do you guys think Trayvon and Heaps are going to stick around?
Well, so we have Trayvon Boykin and Jake Heaps. I don't like Jake Heaps. I don't know why he's on this team. Cut him now. Trayvon Boykin, I say you keep him, but you make him the third quarterback and go find another quarterback.
So you advocate keeping a third quarterback, whereas last seasons we've always
it's worth a try. Worth a try.
Rich, what do you think?
I think that with Boykin's inexperience, if he is the 2, and it looks like he is, that you need a third quarterback. Jake Heaps, I have all sorts of question marks about him. Living down here in Utah, seeing his career firsthand at BYU, the disaster, the fallout from leaving the BYU program, transferring to Kansas, and then I can't even remember where he went after that.
He failed in Kansas, and then he went to Miami, and then he failed in Miami.
It gives me major character concerns, and I will rarely bring up character at the NFL level, but he has major character concerns. With that, one caveat, he has NFL talent. He obviously has NFL talent if he's basically gone from nothing in a college career to possibly making an NFL roster. Just a thought.
But do you think we should keep him or not?
No. Get a veteran. Get any veteran. Get TJ back. Like we need a body. One of these years, Russell Wilson's going to take a hit and he's going to be out for several games, and that's just the way it is. We need someone who's better than a rookie to be the backup quarterback.
So you're an advocate for a 3 quarterback roster?
Absolutely. If Boykin's number 2, you need a veteran number 3.
All right. Moving on to the running back spot, obviously we're keeping Rawls, and probably Christine Michael is probably guaranteed at this point. Beyond that, who do you see us keeping? Do you see us keeping Alex Collins? Do you see us keeping Tukuafu, Procise? What out of those guys? Which ones do you think will make the cut? Abraham?
So we're all very hyped about Christine Michael, and he's had a great preseason, and I think he's your number 2 running back. There is no arguing about that. There's no trading him. And I know I'm Rich. I see you out there. I know you don't want him on this team, but we're keeping him. So don't get started. We're not going to get started on that. But you keep Christine Michael. CJ Procise you have to keep because he is the 3rd round pick. That means Troymaine Pope. Troymaine Pope. Jacksonville State, gone. George Farmer, gone. Zach Brooks, gone. Alex Collins, the river dancer himself, gone.
Ooh.
So what you have is you have Will Tukuafu at the fullback position. You have Thomas Rawls, Christine Michael, and CJ Procise. You keep Alex Collins on the roster as a
Practice squad guy?
thank you.
Rich?
I was going to say, based off of what I saw, unless Procise has something that he's showing in practice that he's not showing on the field, I think Pope's the guy.
Interesting.
He ran hard. He hit his holes. He didn't do anything fancy. But quite frankly, unless your name is Marshawn Lynch, you don't need to do anything fancy in this offense at running back. Run hard, hit the hole. Simple.
No, Rich. A Division II running back. You want a Division II running back carrying the rock for your Seattle Seahawks? You're out of your mind.
Chris Warren was a Division II running back.
From Ferrum?
Yeah.
From Ferrum College. 1 year. No, he had 5 years. 5 years.
He had 5 years. Yeah, he was the all-time leading rusher until Sean Alexander broke his records for the Seahawks. Terrell Davis also, I think, played for a nothing college as well. So I don't really care who you played for in college. I care what can you do at the pro level.
Mm-hmm.
Players that work hard, learn the playbook, do what they're told, get on the field and get playing time.
He's running read option against fourth and fifth stringers.
So
from other teams. Well, so
that's what he's doing.
Oh, great!
He looked good.
With nobody on the field.
Okay, then when he gets to play on a real field, maybe he'll suck. But until then, you don't know. By the way, last year wasn't Thomas Rawls doing the same thing
in preseason?
Yeah, playing against scrubs and
No.
destroying.
No. Okay, first of all, for our viewers out there, I write an article called the Rook Report, okay? I did it last year. I'm doing it this year. I evaluate all the rookies. And I can tell you right now, Thomas Rawls outperformed Rod Smith and the other running backs on the team. That, with the exception of Kristen Michael, he was flat out better. And
so he was the third running back?
He was the third running back.
Oh, okay. And then he performed at a Pro Bowl level for when he became the starter, right?
And he didn't come out of a Division II college, did he?
No, Central Michigan is not a Division II college. It's a Division I college.
Where he started.
Yeah, so there. By the way, the award for the best, I'm going to pound, hashtag self-troll. I just forgot that the award for Division II Player of the Year is called the Walter Payton.
Yeah.
Hashtag self-troll.
You also realize the greatest wide receiver to ever come out of any college came out of a Mississippi Valley State college.
Probably the best.
Rice.
Jerry Rice.
Yeah,
so
probably the best NFL
produces...
player ever came out of Division II.
Next.
Okay, so we're gonna move on.
Let's stop.
And it was also slow. He was too slow. He didn't have any moves.
Nope, not at all.
He ran a 4.75. That is not a good speed for a wide receiver.
Yep. Okay, can we move on now?
Yes, please do.
We'll go to tight ends. All right. So obviously, let's just face facts. Jimmy Graham will be back when he's healthy. Luke Wilson, I like to call him Wilson, will obviously also probably make the team. There's really no doubt in that. Beyond that, we have Nick Vanette and Brandon Williams fighting for tight ends positions. Do you think? What do you think? You guys think these guys are going to make it, or what?
Due to injuries with Jimmy Graham and due to injuries with Nick Vanette, Brandon Williams will make this team. Nick Vanette is the tight end this team deserves, and the tight end this team needs. Jimmy Graham and his half as talented little brother, Luke Wilson, are not the tight ends this team needs. You need more Nick Vanettes on this team. I want him to get healthy, get rid of the other guys, but I understand what the situation is here. We're stuck with Graham. We're stuck with Luke Wilson. I want more Nick Vanettes on this team.
Wow, I wouldn't consider being stuck with Luke Wilson, but okay.
I don't know what you're thinking. having offensive tight ends that you can line up and run at safeties is just about the best thing in the NFL in the passing game right now. Since we have Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas, I'm happy to run our tight ends at anybody else's safeties. I think that's fantastic. So I don't know what your problem is. You
I'll
seem
tell
to
you
think
my
that
problem
want
is.
Mike,
You're looking
Mike
at
Tice again. Like the NFL has moved on.
no. I want more
Tight
Mike
ends are
Tysons.
smaller and faster.
No,
Mark Bavaro is not lacing up his cleats again. Get over it.
you're looking at Luke Wilson, who's a swinging gate on pass plays. That guy can't even lay a chip block, and you're telling me that the fact that he can run a 5-yard out is that important?
Yes.
No, the fact that he can run by safeties on the 30-yard go route is what's important.
When is that happening?
Once or twice a game.
No, it's not
Yeah.
happening once or twice a game. It's happening once or twice every 4 or 5 games, and I'm not really that thrilled with it. I'd
Still
rather
incredibly
have.
useful.
I want Zach Miller's. I want Zach Miller's on this team.
Ugh.
What do you mean?
No, thank you.
Yeah. I'm sorry. 2013 Super Bowl championship to for you.
Yeah, for me.
Oh, okay. Well, then have fun. Have fun with your Jimmy Grahams, guys.
I'm not a big fan of Jimmy, but I do believe he should be a wide receiver because I think that's what he plays.
That's what Luke Wilson is. He's
Luke
Jimmy Graham light.
Wilson is a lighter version of him, but he can occasionally block. Nick Vannett can do it all, and I really am excited that we picked him up.
Yeah,
and
I want
with
more
you
Nick
on him.
Vannett's on this team.
And then yes, obviously Brandon Williams, because of the injury situation, I can see him making it as well. But I don't think he's going to stick around.
Let's compare an all-pro to some guy named Nick Vannett. That's good.
Well, Jimmy Graham he plays like a wide receiver. He can't block.
Yeah, I agree.
He should be a wide receiver. Let's just move him to wide receiver and end it in the discussion.
Well, he's a flex wide receiver, modern NFL.
Oh, modern NFL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
All right. Well,
Like, you isolate linebackers and beat the crap out of them, or you isolate nickel backs and you throw the ball because
Darrell Bevel,
like
Darrell Bevel, the offensive coordinator of this team, has proven he can't run a modern NFL game. He's not a Sean Payton. He's not
Chip Kelly.
Yeah, Chip Kelly. Hey, there we go. Gimmick offense.
I said that just to piss
Oh, good
you
for
off.
you. Great. We're going to bring up gimmick offenses, I hope.
What's so gimmicky about running a off-tempo offense?
Hey, I'll tell you what's a gimmick. 4-12. That's what the 49ers going to have this year.
We'll see.
Next.
I think you're being generous there.
Okay. I am.
Anyway, we'll move on to wide receivers now. This is taking a lot longer than anticipated. But anyway, moving on to wide receivers.
Well, if Rich would stop being wrong about things, that'd be great.
Or you. But anyway, okay. It's pretty much it's pretty much from everything we've been hearing on the camp and from the games. It's pretty much a lock that we're going to carry Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, Tyler Lockett, and Paul Richardson as our top 4, as long as Richardson stays healthy. Which, by the way, he made that touchdown pass or catch this last week, and it was amazing. It was awesome. I'm happy to see him healthy. He's amazing. But beyond him, we'll obviously have to keep a couple more guys. So up for grabs in that column are Tanner McAvoy, Kevin Smith, Kaysen Williams, Kenny Lawler, and there's about 4 or 5 others that I probably can't name.
Deshaun Fox and Hunter.
And Hunter? Okay, that's how little I've seen him. So who do you think is going to be make it in addition to the top 4?
I would say game 4 of the preseason is basically a battle between McAvoy and Kenny Lawler. I think Hunter gone, Deshaun Fox gone. I didn't see anything out of those guys. And the 2 Huskies, I like my Huskies too, Rich, but the Huskies have been injured, and Kaysen Williams and Kevin Smith, they're not going to be here. I mean, the number one ability is durability in this league, and they don't have it.
I would agree with you. I think that Kevin Smith has an outside shot to make the practice squad.
Okay.
My reasoning for that is Kaysen Williams is probably in the last 10 years, the biggest waste of talent to come out of the University of Washington. He just doesn't work hard. He's just not a hard worker. He's not smart. He doesn't use his body the right way. Kevin Smith has top end speed, and he works hard. Always was a good citizen at the UW. I think he has a chance to make the practice squad, especially given injuries and whatnot. So, and I think the likelihood of anyone else snagging him once he gets cut is really, really low.
All right.
I was going to say Kenny Lawler is a good a good talent, but I think he's probably practice squad material as well.
That's fair. I haven't seen. We really haven't seen him. He's kind of been a ghost this whole preseason. You know, he made like 3 catches in the second game, I think it was, and then
It's kind of a strike against him.
he was out there for quite a bit of time in this last game, but he wasn't.
4 targets, 2 catches. That's not very good.
Well, not in this last game.
Against the Cowboys, yeah.
Was? All right. Well, anyway. All right. So the offensive line now. I'm looking at. We've got some other breakdowns here that have. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players being kept. Who do you think is probably the most important guy to keep? We'll just just name your top defensive or offensive lineman. Who's impressed you the most? Let's just go to that.
Okay, let's go with that because it's a tough.
It's tough to analyze.
It's tough to analyze because especially Tom Cable is not a very good offensive line coach.
He's not a conventional.
Not very good offensive line coach. I'll say it.
Okay, move on.
All right.
Finish your point.
I like Jermaine Ifedi.
Okay.
I like him a lot. He has 2 penalties. I understand that in 3 games, 2 holding penalties in 3 games. But the guy is 6'7", 300, 3 bills. The guy is mowing people over. Pass blocking is that's where he's been a little bit weak.
Mm.
But at the guard position, that's not 100% necessary. And I love Justin Britt at center. Great to have an actual guy, an actual offensive lineman, not a defensive lineman, Tom Cable, playing center.
I would totally agree with you. I think that Justin Britt is the key. I also like his backup, Patrick Lewis. Honestly, the rest of the offensive line are kind of meh to me. Nothing spectacular. I do like Ifedi. I don't give a crap about the penalties, honestly. Don't get your quarterback killed. That's rule number 1 in the NFL. Don't get your quarterback killed. I will take the 10 yards. Yeah. Russell Wilson can make that up with his feet or his arm. He can't if he's on a stretcher. I love the body. I love the physicality. And you're wrong on Tom Cable. He's obviously made a long career out of putting together really good offensive lines. And I don't think the Seahawks had any problem running the ball last year, really. Not over the course of the whole season.
Just no pass blocking whatsoever.
Well, yeah, and it's never been about the run blocking for me. It's been about, like what you said, Matt. It's the pass blocking. Yeah. And when you have a defensive lineman last year, I forgot the guy's name out of Notre Dame. Once Patrick Lewis came in, an actual center, the team got better because there's a guy that actually knows how to run it. Okay, last year, the first 6 games, Russell Wilson had to call the offensive line calls because the center did not know how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's why I like Justin Britt there. Somebody that actually knows what he's doing.
I would agree with you. Having a real offensive lineman at center certainly is key. Pass blocking is the hardest skill probably for any offensive player to master. It takes a long time. Seahawks fans were spoiled for all those years, the great offensive lines that protected Matt Hasselbeck and ran in front of, or pushed in front of Sean Alexander. 2 Hall of Famers basically on the left-hand side of that offensive line. So unfortunately, those guys aren't going to come back and put on the uniform again. But really, pass blocking has become a problem in the NFL across the board. The Seahawks are no exception here. I get just because I'm here in Utah, I get a bunch of other areas games. I get a lot of Cardinals games. I get a lot of Broncos games. I get Raiders games, Chargers games. Their offensive lines suck at pass blocking too. So,
okay.
Well, it's not just a Seahawks problem. Lots of guys just can't pass block, probably partially because of how the officials are calling things, and just because the skills aren't being developed in college.
Well, and part of it also could be the fact that they're emphasizing and they're growing freaks of athletes at defensive end these days. 6'8", 6'9", 250-pound guys that can just absolutely throw an offensive lineman around, and they're huge monsters at the corners that are pressing in on the ends. So much pressure.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a different game. You're not going to.
So, Rich, are you saying that basically offensive line, as many concerns as that we have about this offensive line, it's the same thing that's being echoed around the NFC West?
Except everywhere except Dallas, probably.
Well, the NFC West, I'm specific.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, the elite for the last, I'd say, half decade, the NFL just has not gotten the offensive line talent that it once had. You know, the movie that was popularized a few years ago with Sandra Bullock, the Blind Side, right?
The Michael Orr story.
The Michael Orr story, right? But the whole premise of that book that Michael Lewis talks about is why were NFL teams willing to pay millions and millions of dollars for ginormous left tackles, right? You know, they look at all these guys, everyone that's getting money is a quarterback or a left tackle or maybe a couple of other positions on the field. And so he wanted to know why. Well, those left tackles have kind of vanished.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't name maybe one or two in the entire NFL that are really that great at left tackle or right tackle and are worth the money.
So I know we got to run a break. Why are the left tackles vanishing? Have the quarterbacks started playing a different game? I mean, are we looking at an era of mobile quarterbacks that?
I think that's part of it. Is that the left side is not as important as it used to be.
Tempo has gotten more emphasized also in games, so you know they're trying to throw the ball faster, trying to get the ball out from behind the line a lot faster. Yeah, so the blocking isn't quite as necessary.
That might be it. Might be like tempo might be faster, fewer prototype drop back quarterbacks.
Plus, a lot of colleges are running spread, and spread offenses just don't emphasize that skill.
Well, there's some great articles about that because colleges are playing spread.
Yeah, NFL's.
There are no offensive linemen that are ready for the NFL because they're playing these weird schemes that don't match the NFL game. Now we got to run a break, but we're going to come right back and we're going to talk about Matt's going to ask us about the
defense.
Defense, yeah. So this is Seattle Sports Union. We are coming right back, guys. Butt scratch off?
Butt scratch off?
Butt scratch off?
Oh,
okay. Bob?
It's Obama's fault.
Thanks, Obama. Fault.
Thanks, Obama.
Bob, you are just a lackey. You just do what I tell you to do. Yeah, sure.
Dude, check it out. Danny replied to my Facebook comment.
We'll tell Rich what it says.
So I commented in Facebook to the Aqua Sox new logo or new team picture or whatever on the Facebook account, and it was Elliot Surrey, who was one of the relievers that I interviewed, and I said Elliot looks pretty psyched. Congrats, because it was Elliot celebrating after the game on Friday. And Danny, who's the guy who runs the media side, replied as the official Everett Aqua Sox Baseball Club. Thanks for being a part of our media staff.
Nice.
So,
did you finish your beer this time?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of cool. But yeah,
yes, Father.
It's Elliot.
Sure, Rich.
You probably can't see it.
Like,
way
you're
too small.
microscopic because we're at break.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Y'all set?
Yes, Massa. We all ready.
Am I bringing it in or are you?
Oh.
Well, that is a pretty cool logo with on the is it the one that's on the shoulder of the uniform?
Which one?
Like the socks.
I'm a minority.
Oh yeah,
I'm allowed.
They wear that on like
That's
alternates.
what we're going with.
They primarily do the Trident E like
I thought
I'm
you
wearing
shut
on my
our
hat
mics
right
off.
now. Like we're both wearing.
Oh, all right. Okay. Fair enough.
Is it me or you?
Cool.
You're bringing us back.
Are we back? I'm still hearing music.
Now you're back.
Okay, welcome back. Seattle Sports Union. We're here discussing the Seahawks and breaking down the potential of their roster. Matt Page, this is Abraham Deweese, and up in the corner there is Rich Michelson. And before we were covering the offense, so we're continuing now, moving on to the defensive line. We're curious as to I'm curious as to hear you guys' thoughts as to who we're going to keep. You know, there's a lot of players on there, but I guess I really can't do that because it's the same situation as the offensive line. There's just like 14 players, and who are we going to keep? I want to ask who do you think is our best player at the best position on defensive line?
Well, I don't know if
Our
we need to really
strongest.
harp on the attributes of like a Michael Bennett or a Cliff Averill. I think you're looking more for like your new guys,
Okay.
right? Like your
Who,
Jaron
who are you
Reeds.
most excited about? Jaron
Quentin
Reed
Richardson's.
or Jordan Hill developing even more, or Quentin Jefferson, Frank Clark taking a step forward?
You know, that's oh shoot.
Who's your most exciting player?
Frank Clark. Let me get to that in a
Okay.
moment. I just want to go on the dynamic duo of Jaron Reed and Quentin Jefferson, and you're looking at the second round draft pick, a man whose physical talent should have made him a top 10 pick in this NFL draft. And then you're looking
Jaron
at
Reed.
Jaron Reed out of the University of Alabama. And then you're looking at Quentin Jefferson, a 7th round pick, who should have been probably a 2nd or 3rd round pick out of what? University of Maryland, I think. And so you're looking at Jaron Reed, the rush defender, Quentin Jefferson, the pass rush specialist from the inside. I think what we're going to see this year is a pairing between the two that's going to be fantastic. It's going to be as if you had one guy that was a J.J. Watt, as if you had one guy that was in Ndamukong Suh. Just with them pairing off, Jaron Reed's going to shut down the run. Quentin Jefferson's going to collapse that pocket. I love that. I love it.
I'll tell you what I see, fellas. I see a repeat of 2013's defensive front. As far as the depth, the physicality, the smarts, the balance between experience and young players. The Seahawks literally can run out their second defensive line, their whole second string that they have here on the depth chart: Richardson, Bryant, Reed, Clark. And that's probably better than half of the other NFL teams' defensive lines, right? Like their first team right there.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be our second string. We're just going to go, okay, go have a series, guys. Go be fresh, run at them. And I think it's going to terrorize offensive lines and offenses throughout the league. And then, if the ball does get out of the quarterback's hands, I have every confidence in the world of the entirety of the Legion of Boom to knock that ball to the ground, intercept it, give us some quick points, give us a turnover. The defensive backfield's really deep.
If you guys read my Rook report last year, you'll know how big and how excited I am about Frank Clark out of the University of Michigan last year. Frank Clark didn't get to play a lot because he was buried on the depth chart.
Oh, yeah.
But he has the physical talent to be the next Michael Bennett. And I think what we're looking at is for you old-time football fans, a Carl Mecklenburg type player, can line up at D tackle, left end, right end, linebacker. Frank Clark is something special.
All right.
I know you're big on him too.
I do enjoy watching him. He's explosive at times. He's definitely an next level talent. I agree with you. He's a future star, future superstar. I think give him another year here. This year he might break out and actually be noticed by the rest of the league as a guy that they should probably take note of when he's lining up, like where he is on the field. Because like you said, he can play anywhere. He can be moved around a lot, and in that respect, he could almost become a more modern day comparison of like a Ray Lewis, who offenses had to take note where he was lining up. He would line up as a defensive end. He would line up on the line, but wherever he was on the field, he was a ball hawk, and he was the thing. I think Clark could develop potentially into maybe not as high a level of that, because Ray Lewis is probably one of the best linebackers of all time, but maybe near that level. Speaking of linebackers, we'll move on into our linebacker core. Obviously, we've got KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner running things there. We got Mike Morgan. There's Coyle. There's Pierre Lewis. You might have Marsh and Clark kind of back there in the mix as well for that kind of role. Who excites you the most in linebacker position?
The biggest fight this offseason, preseason, has been for the Sam position. The Sam position obviously being strong side linebacker in this 4-3 offense. 4-3 defense is kind of a hybridization where the Sam, the strong side linebacker who lines up on the side of a tight end, is required to be able to cover, is required to be able to blitz, is required to be able to come down on the line with his hand on the ground and act as like another de facto defensive lineman. Cassius Marsh has been scintillating, titillating, exciting,
Yeah, he has.
special. Look for Cassius Marsh to win that job.
So they were actually considering Brandon Browner for that role, and you don't think he's gonna land it?
Oh, no, I haven't seen anything out of Brandon Browner that makes me interested in seeing him at the linebacker position. I would love to have him as a special teamer and a DB, maybe a backup linebacker, but I have seen more out of Cassius Marsh, more than I've seen out of Mike Morgan, more than I've seen out of anybody else competing for that job.
What are your thoughts, Rich?
I think that getting the outside linebacker, the strong side linebacker right is the single most important decision this team can make as far as whether they will be successful this coming year. I think it's more important than the backup quarterback. I think it's more important than the running back's decisions. I think it's more important than the line, any other decision. You've got to get the starter right. It's the first real starting job in a critical position. You know, much respect to our departed cornerback from last year. Bruce Irvin, yes, but Bruce Irvin held down that job and was unnoticeably special, if that makes sense. Is that you didn't even notice he was on the field because there was never anyone calling out that, hey, the strong side linebacker screwed up. Look at him mess up again. He just did his job, right? The problem was he was like the 8th most talented guy on the team and wasn't going to get the big money. So, he left. But we need someone who can consistently fill that role. We've got the 2 other superstars at linebacker. We just need someone consistent. So my question is, Cassius Marsh, all the talent in the world, can he be consistent? If he can't be, Mike Morgan is going to take that job.
I personally would be comfortable with either one of them in that role. I mean, like you said, like everyone was saying, Marsh has done a great job. So I think he deserves the shot to start. But if Morgan winds up having to take over, he's shown himself to be very reliable in the past and a great player. So I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Let me put it that way. So let's, I guess, move on to defensive backs, the Legion of Boom. Boom. Obviously, you got the main core of the Legion of Boom. You got Sherman, Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Jeremy Lane. But after that, you got the next level guys. You got Sheed, you got McCray, you got Simon, you got Burley, you got Terrell, you got Ty Smith. Tivius Powell, who was big in as a special teams potential guy in our camp, although he might have, in my opinion, lost his job there on this week playing corner. Who should we watch out for to make the last couple spots, Dave?
I got very excited in game 1 against was it the Chiefs? Yeah, the Chiefs. Tyvis Powell made an impact. Tyvis Powell in the game against the Cowboys got an opportunity not just to play on special teams, but play in that position of defensive back, specifically strong safety. Got blowed up, as a lot of people would say these days. He done got blowed up. He was not capable of covering even a 3rd or 4th stringer.
It was a wide receiver I'd never heard of before.
Yeah. And that really, really made me, take pause on the situation. We're going to see a lot of him in game 4. We're going to see if his special teams capability is in of itself enough for him to stay on this team. But what I saw was not enough as far as a backup to Cam Chancellor. Backup to Cam Chancellor right now is Kelsey McCray. And Cam Chancellor didn't look all that great last week. So maybe you start looking behind you and seeing that there's other kids coming up. Not saying this year, but I'm talking about like next year.
Rich, what do you think?
First off, it would take an incredible player to dethrone Cam Chancellor from really being the king of this defense.
I'm not saying this year though, Rich. I'm saying
I don't even say next year. You have to earn your stripes on this team, And at this point, Cam Chancellor, what, 5th round draft pick, chip the size of North America on his shoulder, is not giving up his starting job. If you recall, he was not part of the team for a couple of weeks last year.
Yeah, we all remember that.
I think we kind of lost a couple of games.
Maybe.
He also wasn't right for a couple of weeks after that.
But
Once
Rich,
he was right,
you have
what
to
happened
remember
to the
he's
team?
got degenerative hip problems. He's not going to last
The
forever.
man plays football. Of course he's not going to last forever. He plays one of the most physical positions on the football field.
But he's still good, so they use him while
He's
he's still
really,
good.
really good.
Yeah, what-
So none of these kids. Let's
not
not
talking about
be
re-signing him.
foolishness. Let's not talk foolishness. None of these kids are going to take his job. The only way that anyone takes his job is if he goes down with an injury. And if he does, the person that I see stepping in is not Kelsey McRae, not Steven Terrell, not Tyvis Powell, but is Deshaun Shedd.
Yeah, well, that's if Deshaun Shedd doesn't take Jeremy Lane's job, which is very possible too.
That is very possible.
Yeah.
There is, let's just say that there are 4 really good cornerbacks on this team, and only one of them has his slot guaranteed, basically, at this point.
Rich, the role Simon could start on every other team.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah,
of
no,
these guys
I totally
backups
agree.
could start on almost every.
I was going to say Marcus Burley is probably a starting cornerback on half of
Sure.
the NFL rosters.
He may not even make the team.
Might not make the team. Yeah. Brandon Browner, I don't think makes the team unless there's a rash of injuries in the defensive backfield.
He's not going to take a practice squad spot. He'll go sign with someone else.
He'll go someplace else, but I really don't see him making the squad. Too old, too slow, not smart enough, and prone to doing dumb stuff. So
let's just touch real fast then to round things out. Special teams, okay? Kicker, Hoshka, obviously going to make it. John Ryan.
No, John Ryan, no.
John Ryan, absolutely going to
Get
make it.
rid of him.
Nolan Freese or Clint Gresham, long snapper. Go.
I was joking about John Ryan, but actually the problems on some of these punts have been Nolan Freese.
Yeah.
A couple of really poor snaps. There was one bad handle by John Ryan, but I saw 2 really bad snaps in the last 3 games, and I'm kind of concerned. You cannot have that. Not at this
Gresham?
level.
okay, so I got to step. I just got to step. It's the dumbest position in the NFL. Long snap. The dumbest position. The dumbest position.
Tell us how you
But
really feel.
Look a few years ago, if you recall, the San Diego Chargers had the #1 defense, #1 offense, went 8-8 because their special teams were atrocious.
Yes.
Find a long snapper, pay them their darn money.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I know it's a family show. I'm keeping my language in check as much as I possibly can. I don't
Thank
care
you.
what the cap is. Pay the long snapper their money. Waste your stupid roster spot on it and just be done with it. Don't
right.
have this stupid uncertainty on what could be a Super Bowl winning team.
Well, the uncertainty really
Stupid.
is just which long snapper to go with. But
No.
okay.
That's the problem, is that you have this question of which long snapper to go with. You had a perfectly good guy last year. What's wrong with him? He didn't have any of these problems. Keep him.
He's still included. in
Clint
Gresham.
Gresham's still here. They're just trying this new guy out.
Anyway, that about breaks it down for the Seahawks and the roster, and we're about out of time, actually.
We are out of time. My name is Abraham Deweese. This is Matt Page. That is the inscrutable Richard Michelson. We are the Seattle Sports Union. Check us out at seattlesportsunion.com. We have great articles about all your favorite Seattle area sports. We've just finished up recently with the Everett Aqua Sox.
Who won the playoff spot? Congratulations!
Congratulations, Everett
Absolutely.
Aqua Sox. We'll be at all the Everett Silvertips games. Check us out on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook, type in Seattle Sports Union, like us. Also, check us out on Twitter. We have a lot of great tweets. That's at Seattle Sports U, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Seattle Sports U. For all you social media guys.
Like us, because we like you.
Have a great night, guys. We're Seattle Sports Union. See you later.
See ya.